Welcome to HFY Galactic Stories, original science fiction tales, where humans face impossible odds, and the galaxy pays the price for its ignorance. Listen carefully. This is where legends are born. The Gathering Storm. The space station Concordia was floating in the middle of nowhere between star systems. It was a wheel made of steel and glass. The Concordia space station had seen a lot of meetings over the years. Today was special. Today was the day of the Galactic Defense Summit. This is when the biggest and strongest military powers in the galaxy got together. They came to show off how strong they are and to make friends with powers. The observation decks on the Concordia space station had views. You could see all the warships that were gathered there. Each warship was parked in a spot to look really good, against the stars and space. Admiral Sarah Chen stood quietly in the delegation's quarters fixing the collar of her navy blue uniform. She was a woman of height with sharp eyes that missed nothing and silver streaks running through her dark hair. Her face was really calm, like someone who had seen a lot and was not scared of much. Admiral Sarah Chen looked out the window, saw the alien vessels coming in one by one. Each alien vessel was more impressive than the one. Admiral Sarah Chen let herself smile a bit. The main conference hall was really busy with people moving. Representatives from over the galaxy were taking their seats. This hall was made to fit all kinds of beings no matter what they looked like or how big they were. The seats could be. The air could be changed to make everyone comfortable. There were displays all around the room showing lots of information and rules for talking to each other in many different languages. The main conference hall had many of these displays showing readouts and diplomatic protocols for the representatives from the galaxy. The Zytherians were the first to present. They are a species of tall beings that look like they are made of something that is not quite solid. The Zytherians seem to change between being a solid and something else. The Zytherians were represented by High Commander Zelrix. High Commander Zelrix stood in front of everyone with a lot of pride. When High Commander Zelrix spoke, his voice sounded nice and clear, like the sound of wind chimes when it's windy outside. The voice of High Commander Zelrix filled the room. "Look at the Phantom Wing," Zelrix said as the holographic display turned on. The Phantom Wing looked really cool. It was a ship, with lines that seemed to fade away at the edges. "The Phantom Wing exists in dimensions at the same time," Zelrix explained. "No weapon can hit the Phantom Wing because it cannot see it clearly. No wall can stop the Phantom Wing because it can move between worlds. The Phantom Wing is a ship." The Phantom Wing demonstration was really impressive. The Phantom Wing went through asteroids like they were nothing. It came out behind the enemy in fake battles, and the Phantom Wing completely disappeared from sensors when it was in trouble. The people who were watching the Phantom Wing murmured that they liked it. Zelrix bowed a bit, and you could tell he was happy because the Phantom Wing was doing what it was supposed to do, and Zelrix was happy with the Phantom Wing. The Mandorians were next. They are a really smart group that works together. Each Mandorian is not very big. When they all work together, the Mandorians are very intelligent. The speaker for the Mandorians is named Crix. He went up to the platform to talk. Crix is not fancy like the Zytherians. He is small and simple with a lot of things added to his body. The Mandorians and their speaker Crix are very different from the Zytherians. The Mandorian collective is really strong because all the people work together, not because one person is super powerful, Crix said. The picture on the hologram changed to show a lot of ships, not just one. There were thousands of them. The swarm fleet is like one big team with thousands of ships all working together. Each ship is not that important on its own. All the ships together are unstoppable. The Mandorian collective is going to show us what it means to work together in a fight. Watch the Mandorian collective and see how they do it, Crix said. The Mandorian collective is going to demonstrate how to fight as one team. The Mandorian swarm was like a cloud that surrounded the enemy fleets. It was really good at destroying ships. Even when some of the ships were destroyed, the Mandorian swarm could still work together perfectly. It was like the Mandorian swarm was a living thing that could change and adapt fast. The Mandorian swarm could go around the defenses, attack the targets with a lot of ships and great coordination. When a lot of the Mandorian swarm was gone, the rest of the Mandorian swarm just kept on attacking without stopping or getting confused. The Mandorian swarm was really strong. Could keep fighting even when things got tough. The Crystalline Dominion was the one to show up. Their ambassador was a woman named Lumina. She was really something because her whole body was made of living crystal. This crystal bent light in cool ways. Lumina walked to the middle of the room in a calm and careful way. The Crystalline Dominion's ambassador, Lumina, seemed to be taking her time to get to the center of the chamber. Lumina said that matter and energy are really the thing. She had a voice, it was like the sound of bells ringing on ice. The Dominion knows this already. Our Prism Dreadnoughts do not just protect against energy weapons. The Prism Dreadnoughts take in the energy, store it, and then send it back with more power. The demonstration with the hologram showed these big crystal ships taking a lot of fire from all sides. This fire was very strong. Should have destroyed the crystal ships. It did not. It actually made the crystal ships glow more. Then something bad happened. The crystal ships sent out beams of energy that went right through the defenses of the planets and destroyed the enemy ships completely. The more people attacked the crystal ships, the stronger the crystal ships became. The Vulcan Federation's turn came next. General Cragg, this guy with skin like rock that had heat coming from inside, stepped forward and the ground shook under his feet. You could see smoke coming up from his shoulders as he started talking to the assembly. The Vulcan Federation was really something to see. General Cragg was the one in charge, so everyone listened when he spoke. The Vulcans came from the centers of stars that were dying. Cragg said this in a low voice that sounded like the earth moving. The Vulcans are not scared of fire or getting too hot. We actually like these things. We make our weapons in the parts of planets. Look at the Hellforge battlecruiser. The holographic display showed vessels that looked like they were made of melted metal and fire. These Hellforge vessels approached planets. Went right into their atmospheres. They did not stay outside. Attack from there. The Hellforge vessels used the heat from inside the planets. The power of volcanoes to change the whole world into a place where they could make weapons. In the simulation, a Hellforge vessel went through the layer of a planet to get to the hot part inside, then it came back out into space with streams of melted rock behind it that became hard and turned into new places to launch weapons from. The Hellforge vessels were really something. They could make new weapons platforms out of the melted rock that came from the planets. The Seraphim Alliance finally took the stage. The person who spoke for the Seraphim Alliance was called the Arbiter. The Arbiter was a being that was made of light and had a body that looked like a human. When the Arbiter spoke, the Seraphim Alliance's message was heard around. The voice of the Arbiter seemed to come from all directions and from no direction at the time. The Seraphim Alliance's words were very powerful through the Arbiter. The Seraphim have gone way beyond what normal species can do, the Arbiter said. They were not trying to brag or anything, they just thought this was how things were. The Seraphim have figured out how to control the basics of space and time. The Seraphim celestial fleet does not really move through space like other things do. The Seraphim make space work for the Seraphim. The Seraphim bend space to what the Seraphim want. The demonstration was really something. Seraphim vessels did not dodge attacks, they actually made the attacks miss by changing the space between themselves and the incoming fire. Seraphim vessels did this in a strange way. They did not travel to away places, instead Seraphim vessels made the distance smaller so there was no space to cross. In the simulation, one Seraphim ship was fighting a group of enemy ships and it won. The Seraphim ship won by making it impossible for the enemy ships to be in the area of space. The Seraphim ship actually folded the enemy ships into pockets of space where they could not attack and they could not escape. The Seraphim ship was very good at this. The presentations finally came to an end. The room was filled with people talking excitedly. People from countries were speaking to each other in quiet and amazed voices about the technologies they had just seen. The military people were busy updating the information they had. The people in charge of talking to countries were very busy with new ideas for working together and trading with each other. Admiral Sarah Chen and her team did not say a word. They sat in the area that was assigned to them. This area was not very big, which was okay because humanity is still pretty new to the galaxy. Admiral Sarah Chen paid attention to every presentation. Her face did not show any emotion, she just looked very professional. Admiral Sarah Chen did not write anything down, she did not ask any questions. She did not say what she thought about what was being presented. High Commander Zelrix saw that the humans were not saying anything and he thought this was strange. When they took a break, High Commander Zelrix went to talk to Admiral Chen. Some other alien commanders came along too because they were curious about what High Commander Zelrix was going to say to Admiral Chen. Admiral Chen, Zelrix said, his body shining nicely. You have not said much during our talks. I hope what we showed you was not too hard for humans to understand. Human technology is still pretty basic when you look at the galaxy. I mean, human technology is not very advanced compared to what other planets have, so I was worried it might be too much for humans like Admiral Chen to handle. Chen looked up at the Zytherian with calm eyes. I am not overwhelmed, Commander. I think it is interesting. The way your technology can change phases is really fascinating. The Zytherian technology is something that I want to learn more about. The phase-shifting technology of the Zytherians is very interesting to me. The Crix of the Mandorian Collective moved forward. You people have only been in space for a short time, that is correct? The Mandorian Collective understands if the contribution of your species to this summit is small. Not every species can be as powerful as the powers like the Mandorian Collective. The Mandorian Collective is a power and we know that. We all start somewhere, Chin said in a voice. General Craig's laugh was like an avalanche. Starting something is easy for humans. Surviving for a long time is the real test. General Craig wants to know what kind of ship Earth will send. Will it be something that can move really fast? Young species like humans often like things that fast instead of strong. General Craig thinks that humans might choose a fast ship. Chin said that we will see tomorrow. He said this in a way. Lumina's crystalline form leaned a little to one side because she was really curious. You sound very sure of yourself, Admiral. You have not told us what you can do. Some people might think that you do not have anything to tell us because you are not able to do much. Lumina thinks that it is strange that you are being so quiet about what Lumina's allies can expect from you, Admiral. You are talking like you have a lot to offer. Lumina does not see anything. Chin said that some people might think that way. But that would be guessing, would it not? The Arbiter of the Seraphim came closer to me. The Arbiter of the Seraphim was shining with a light that seemed to be laughing or wondering. The Arbiter of the Seraphim said, "You are doing a job of staying calm, human. Staying calm does not win battles or make the other groups in the galaxy think you are important." The Arbiter of the Seraphim showed us the military power. What can humanity show that is better than what other species have done? These species have been around for thousands of years, so they must be very good. Admiral Chin got up slowly, looked at each of the alien commanders. Admiral Chin spoke in a voice, but everyone in the room could hear what Admiral Chin was saying. You have shown me what you can do on your own. I have seen the phase shifting and the swarm tactics and the energy absorption and the planetary forging and the spatial manipulation. Each of these things is really cool. Each of these things is meant to make the thing that does it really powerful in its way. She stopped talking for a moment, then she kept going. I noticed something that I think is interesting. Each of you did your thing by yourself. Each of you only showed me what makes you different from the others. Each of you thinks that what you can do on your own is enough. Zelric said to me, "Do you really question this?" He sounded like he did not think I should be questioning it. Chin said, "I do not question anything. I just see what happens. Tomorrow you will see how humanity does things. We have a way of thinking about these things, about humanity and how we do things." Craig asked, "How is that different?" Chin's smile was not very big. It was real. We figured something out from fighting each other for thousands of years before we went to the stars. We figured out that the strongest person is not always the one who wins. Sometimes it is the person who knows how all the parts fit together that wins, because fighting is not about being strong, Chin said. It is about understanding how all the pieces of fighting work together, and that is what we learned from fighting each other for so long. We learned that the strongest person does not always win. It is the person who knows how all the pieces work together that wins. That is what Chin was talking about, the way all the pieces of fighting work together to make someone win or lose. Before any of the commanders could say something, Chin nodded politely and walked away. Her delegation followed her in an orderly line. The 5 alien leaders looked at each other as they walked away. They were smiling a little. They also looked a bit unsure about what to do. The alien commanders seemed to be thinking about what happened with Chen and her delegation. Cryptic words do not mean anything, Crix finally said. Tomorrow we will see if humans really have something behind their attitude, if humans actually have substance behind their mysterious attitude. Crag said, "I agree." He was really curious about what the humans would show them. The humans had beaten themselves over and over before they all worked together. Maybe the humans learned something from all the things they did to themselves. Zelric said, "We can make some okay ships to defend ourselves maybe. They are not as good as what we showed today. The difference in how good our technologies is just too big. We have better technology than they do, and that is what matters. Our technology is ahead of what they can make, and that is a big deal." Luminous crystal shape bent the station's light into thoughtful patterns. "Maybe," she said. "The human admiral seems really sure of himself. He does not seem like the kind of person who is just pretending to be brave. The admiral's confidence seems like it is coming from a place of quiet knowledge, like the human admiral knows something about Lumina that Lumina does not know." The Arbiter said that tomorrow will show us what is really going on. The Arbiter thinks that guessing what will happen is not helpful. Until then, the alien commanders went back to their groups and their spaceships. The stars were still shining above them through the see-through parts of Station Concordia. They just kept on shining, not caring about anything. Out there, in the big dark space beyond what the station's equipment could detect, the alien commanders knew that something was out there waiting for them. Something was waiting in that huge darkness. Beyond the station's sensors, something was waiting. In her quarters, Admiral Sarah Chin was standing in front of her communication terminal. She put in some codes, then she said this: "Do Operation Daybreak. We need to bring Admiral Sarah Chin. A long way from us in the huge empty space where no people had settled yet, something big started to move. Some lights on the outside of the USS Prometheus began to flash on and off, showing us a ship that was so big it actually pulled things towards it. The USS Prometheus was on its way to the meeting, and nothing in the galaxy was prepared for what humanity had built. The revelation. The morning on Station Concordia started with a sound. This sound came from the machines that controlled the air. They were changing the air to make it comfortable for all the species that were there for the last day of the summit. The big room where everyone was going to meet filled up fast. The people who were supposed to be took their seats. They were excited to see the part of the military talks. The 5 big powers had already shown what they could do with their technology. Now it was the humans' turn. The humans were the ones left to show what they had. Admiral Sarah Chin walked into the room with the calm and confident air that she had shown all through the meeting. The Admiral Sarah Chin team that came with her was very small. They all walked in a straight line, which looked very neat. They were all wearing uniforms, which looked very simple compared to the fancy uniforms that the other groups were wearing. Admiral Sarah Chin did not have any papers or special machines with her, which made it seem like she was not planning to give a talk. The alien commanders were sitting in the part of the room. They looked at things with interest. They were trying not to laugh. High Commander Zelrix was really looking forward to things, you could tell. His body it kept flickering. General Craig's skin was glowing more than it usually does. This means he was excited, because that is what happens to Vulcan people when they get excited. The Arbiter usually stays really calm. Today the Arbiter seemed more focused than the day before. The alien commanders like High Commander Zelrix and General Craig were all waiting to see what would happen next. The person in charge of the meeting, called the Observance, asked everyone to be quiet. They are a group that has helped keep peace in the galaxy for a long time. The Observance said, "Now we want Admiral Sarah Chin from Earth to tell us what humanity has to say at this meeting." Admiral Sarah Chin, it is your turn to talk. Chin walked to the middle of the room with steps. She looked at all the people who were there, the delegates, and she did not say anything for a while. Chin let the quiet last for a moment. When Chin finally talked, her voice was easy to hear and very calm. "I really appreciate you waiting for me. The day you showed us some really cool things. You had these ships that can go into other worlds. These big groups of ships that work together like they are one thing. You also had ships that get stronger when someone attacks them with energy. Then there were these machines that can make entire planets into weapons. You can even control gravity, which is like bending the whole space around us." She stopped talking for a moment. "Each of these things is something that your people have been working on for a long time, like hundreds or thousands of years. Each one of these things shows how smart and talented your people are, the people who made these things, the people who are your species. Yet you have nothing to show us." Crix of the Mandorian Collective said in a tone, "We have been waiting for this moment for a time. Where is the vessel you were supposed to bring? What about the specifications and demonstrations of the vessel? The Mandorian Collective wants to see the vessel and its specifications. Where are the demonstrations you promised us?" Chin smiled a little. "My ship is right where I want it to be. I do not like watching pictures of things. I like to see the thing." She lifted up her wrist, turned on her phone. "Captain Morrison, please move the Prometheus so we can see it." The main window of the chamber, a big clear wall, showed what was outside Station Concordia. Everyone looked at the window. At first everything seemed the same. The alien warships were still floating in space, showing how good their makers were at building things. The alien warships were still just hanging there, looking like they were showing off how smart the people who built them were. The view of the warships, through the main window of the chamber, was pretty amazing. Someone noticed that the stars were disappearing from the sky. The stars were going away one by one. People were looking up at the stars. They saw that the stars were really disappearing. It started at the edge of what I could see, a shape that began to move across all the stars. This was not the darkness of space, but something real that was moving between the station and the faraway light of the universe. The dark shape got bigger and bigger and even bigger. The darkness kept growing. It was really big now. The station was being blocked by this darkness. Lumina said, "What is that?" She looked really upset. Her body was made of crystal. It was bending the light in weird ways. "Is that some kind of problem with space?" Lumina asked. Chin said this softly. He said, "There is no problem with that ship." He also said, "That ship belongs to me." The darkness just kept getting bigger and bigger until it took up half of what we could see, then it got even bigger. Took up 3/4, and before we knew it, the darkness was almost everywhere. The alien delegates started to talk to each other in voices, and you could tell they were getting more and more confused and worried. All of a sudden the automated systems at Station Concordia turned on and warning alarms started blasting all over the place, warning us that something was getting too close. "Impossible," whispered Zelrix. His shiny form just stopped moving. Zelrix said, nothing can be that big. The stress on the thing would break any ship into pieces. When the USS Prometheus finally came into view, something that seemed impossible actually happened. The USS Prometheus was really there, in front of us. That was a pretty amazing thing to see. The USS Prometheus was something we had been waiting for. Now it was finally here. The ship was really huge. It was so big that it was hard to understand how a spacecraft could be that large. The Zytherian Phantom Wing, which is considered big by the standards of the galaxy, could have easily fit inside one of the docking bays of the Prometheus with plenty of room left over. The Prometheus is just that big. The Crystalline Prism Dreadnought, a ship big as a small moon, looked like a tiny toy floating near the human supercarrier, the Prometheus. The Prometheus is a massive ship. The Prometheus was really different from spacecraft. The main body of the Prometheus was made up of lots of parts that fit together like a big puzzle. These parts could be taken apart, put back together in different ways to do different things. The Prometheus had lights that ran along its surface, and this surface went on for kilometers and kilometers. The Prometheus had rooms called hangar bays along its sides, and each room was big enough to hold a lot of spaceships. The Prometheus also had towers that stuck up from its surface, and these towers had special equipment on them to help the Prometheus talk to other people. What really surprised all the people who were there was what the Prometheus was doing. The Prometheus was not one big ship. The Prometheus was actually a city that could move around. The Prometheus had everything that a city would have. It was all on the ship. Details if you want to know, Chin said into the quiet. The ship is really big. It is 42 kilometers long. It is 18 kilometers wide. It is 12 kilometers high. The ship has a lot of people on it, 250,000 personnel. The ship can take care of itself and the people on the ship. It can work on its own for a long time, decades, even without needing more food or supplies. General Cragg finally spoke up. His voice was shaking a little. 250,000 people, General Cragg said. That is not a crew, that is a lot of people, a population of people, like a small city. And General Cragg thought to himself, how can this be a crew? General Cragg just did not understand. Chin said that the Prometheus is really two things. The Prometheus is a ship that carries things. The Prometheus is also a place where things are made. The Prometheus is a station where people do research. The Prometheus is a ship that takes people to homes. The Prometheus is a building that protects people. Chin said that the Prometheus is able to set up everything that people need for the military and for life, in any new place. The Arbiter's light form was flashing fast. This goes against everything I know about design. A ship big as this should be really hard to control, really hard to protect, and really hard to keep running. How do you even power the Arbiter's ship? 6 fusion cores, each one of powering a whole planetary civilization, Chin replied. We have 14 reactors and more than 100 backup power systems for the planetary civilization. Now let us see about maneuvering the civilization. Watch what the fusion cores and the secondary reactors can do for the planetary civilization. She spoke into her communicator again. Captain Morrison, I want you to show me some moves, Captain Morrison. Just do some things with the ship, Captain Morrison. What happened next went against everything the aliens knew about physics. The big spaceship started to move. It did not move slowly like you would think it would given how huge it was. Instead, it moved with a lot of grace. The spaceship turned around its middle, showing sides to the station. It sped up, slowed down, and changed direction fast, which seemed crazy for something that big. The aliens watched as the vessel kept moving in ways that seemed impossible for the massive vessel. The whole ship has thrusters all over it, Chin said. We do not just use the way of moving. The Prometheus can turn itself in any direction it wants and make thrust from any side. The Prometheus is not as fast as those fighter ships, but the Prometheus is fast enough. Crick's mouth parts clicked fast because he was upset. Think about how much it will cost us in terms of resources. The time it will take to build it. To make something like this, we would need everything a whole solar system produces for a long time, like many decades. The construction time of something like this is just too long. The resource cost of something like this is just too high. Chin said, it has been 15 years. Yes, it took a lot of money and people to do this. We changed 3 asteroid belts and 2 big planets that are made of gas. We also built 14 places in space where we could build ships. But we did not make one spaceship. We made the asteroid belts and the gas giants and the shipyards to build many spaceships, the spaceships that we built in the 14 orbital shipyards. The viewport suddenly showed other shadows appearing in the distance. These were not any shadows, they were the shadows of massive shapes. Massive shapes that were emerging from the darkness of space. They were really big. The massive shapes just kept coming, emerging from the darkness of space, and it was a scary sight to see the massive shapes like that. Chin went on to say, now I want to tell you about the rest of humanity's Guardian fleet. We have the USS Atlas, which is really good at protecting planets. The USS Endeavour is set up for exploring space and meeting new people for the first time. The USS Bastion is great at fighting wars and bombing enemy positions for a time. We also have 9 ships, and each one is special because it was made for a specific reason. In total we have 12 big carrier ships. We are building even more. The Humanities Guardian fleet is made up of the USS Atlas and the USS Endeavour and the USS Bastion and the other 9 ships all working together. The room was completely quiet. Every single delegate was looking at the fleet that had just shown up out of nowhere. These were not any ships. The fleet was made up of mobile nations. The mobile nations had the power to do things on a huge scale, much bigger than anything else. In the galaxy, the mobile nations were really something. Lumina's voice was really quiet. How did you do this? Your people have only been going to space for over 100 years. How could you make something like this fast? Chen's face got really serious. He said, we had to do it. You asked me yesterday why I was so sure of myself. The reason is easy to understand. We had no choice. Before we made it to the stars, people on Earth fought each other for a long time. 10,000 years. We made weapons that could destroy societies. We built walls to protect ourselves from attacks that could kill everyone on a planet. We figured out how to work with millions of people in different parts of the world when we were at war. She walked closer to the viewport. Looked out at the Prometheus. The Prometheus was a deal to her. When we finally got peace and started exploring space, we did not forget what we learned. We did not throw away that knowledge. We used it to make the Prometheus. Every system on the Prometheus is from things we used to fight each other. We used to fight a lot and many people died. Every way we defend the Prometheus was tested in those fights. We got good at building things like the Prometheus because we had to. If we failed, we would all die. We almost died many times. The Prometheus is a result of all that. We learned from our mistakes. Used that knowledge to build the Prometheus. The Admiral turned back to face the assembly. He said, you showed me 5 ways that warfare can be done, each one focused on something that helps us. These are phase shifting and swarm tactics and energy absorption and environmental manipulation and spatial distortion. Each one of these warfare methods is really good. But here is what you need to know about people. People do not just pick one thing that helps us. The Admiral said people take all of these advantages. We use phase shifting and swarm tactics and energy absorption and environmental manipulation and spatial distortion, all of them, because that is what people do. She picked up her communicator again. Captain Morrison, I need you to put up the defense grid and show me that all the systems are working together, she said to Captain Morrison. Captain Morrison should get the defense grid ready and make sure all the systems are integrated, she thought to herself, waiting for Captain Morrison to respond. The Prometheus responded away. The huge hangar bays of the Prometheus opened up like the petals of a metal flower. From inside, the Prometheus ships started to come out. There were not a few dozen or a few hundred but thousands of ships from the Prometheus coming out in perfect lines. The fighters had something they could change how they worked, kind of like the Zytherians do. They also had these drone swarms that worked together well, like the Mandorian Collective. Then there were these frigates with bodies that could take in energy similar to the big ships from the Dominion. The destroyers had centers that were like the ships made by the Vulcan people. The cruisers could even control gravity, which is something that the Seraphim have shown us they can do. The Zytherians and the Mandorian Collective and the Dominion and the Vulcan people and the Seraphim all have cool technology, and these ships had some of those things too. Chin said that they looked at our technologies for a time. They did this when people from our countries talked to each other and made trade deals. We were able to learn from you. Then we took what we learned, added it to the systems we already had. We also did something that you did not do. We worked together, which is something you did not show us. Chin called this cooperation. They said that this cooperation is something that we did not see when we looked at your technologies. The fleet that was sent out started to show what it could do. The alien delegates were really surprised. The fighter planes would then come back into sight while they were working together with the drone groups to cover everything. The big ships that could absorb energy were protecting the destroyers that had the equipment to make things as they were attacking the targets that were not real. The cruisers that could control gravity were changing the space around them to get an advantage, and all the other types of ships were using this to their benefit. The fleet was really good at working, and the alien delegates did not know what to say. The fighter squadrons and the drone swarms and the energy-absorbing frigates and the equipped destroyers and the gravity-manipulating cruisers all worked together perfectly. This is how people really fight a war, Chin said. We do not try to make one thing. We make a lot of things that work together. Every ship helps every ship. Every system has a plan. Every plan has another plan in case something goes wrong. We have plans inside of plans in case, Chin explained. Every strategy for war has many contingency plans. She pointed to the Prometheus. The Prometheus is not a ship that carries other vessels. The Prometheus is a place where they can build more of these vessels. The Prometheus is also a place where people can do research to make these vessels better. The Prometheus is like an office where people can control a lot of vessels at the same time. The Prometheus is like a town that has everything people need to live and work on the Prometheus. General Craig's voice was really low. It sounded like he was being sincere. You did not just build things for battle. For a long fight. For General Craig's campaigns that General Craig's army has to fight for many years or even decades. Exactly, Chin said. War is not one fight. It is not about having better weapons. War is about being able to keep going. It is about getting the things you need to the place at the right time. It is about being able to adapt when things do not go as planned. It is about wanting to keep going even when things seem really bad. The war taught us this the way. The Arbiter floated forward. The Arbiter's light form was not as bright as it was before. You are telling me that all the fighting you did in the past helped you in some way. The Arbiter thinks that because the Arbiter had some time of peace, the Arbiter became too comfortable, and that is a problem. Chin said this in a way. You are all very good at one thing. Each of you is specialized. You got so good at that one thing that you did not need to learn things. You became very efficient at what you do. People are not like that. We have had to deal with different kinds of enemies. They have technologies and strategies. They think about things in ways. So we had to be able to change and adapt to stay alive. Humanity had to be adaptable to survive. This is what humanity is like. We are not, like you, we are not specialized. We have to do things to survive. She looked at each of the 5 commanders one by one. The way you can shift from one phase to another is better than what we can do. The way your spaceships work together is also better. You are able to soak up energy in an efficient way. Your big ships that make things are even hotter than ours. The way you can control gravity is more precise too. In every area the alien commanders are better than us. We did not try to be the best at just one thing. We wanted to be good enough at all the things we do. Zelric's shiny body was completely still because he was so surprised. And you think this is okay, so you can make something like this? He pointed at the Prometheus and all the ships that were surrounding it. No, Chin said quietly. What made it possible for us to build this is that we know something important about conflict. Conflict is not about having the weapon. It is about having the weapon for every situation that we are in. The thing is, we do not want to give our enemy something they can use against us. We do not want to give them an advantage. What I mean is that we have to make sure we do not have any weaknesses that our enemy can attack. Conflict is about being ready for anything and making sure that our enemy does not have anything they can use to hurt us. We have to think about what the right weapons for every situation and make sure that we are using it. This is what allowed us to build this. The person in charge of the summit finally said something. Their voice sounded really worried. Admiral Chin, the Galactic Council needs to meet about what we found out. The Galactic Council has to talk about this because the power is not balanced like it was before. The balance of power in the galaxy has changed in a way, Admiral Chin. Chin said, I understand. Then he wanted to make one thing very clear. The people of Earth did not build the Guardian Fleet to take over people. The Guardian Fleet was built so that we could protect ourselves. We joined the group of planets in the galaxy late. When we got there we saw that the strong planets could boss around the ones. The people of Earth decided that we would never let that happen to us. We would never be weak like that. The Guardian Fleet is our way of making sure the people of Earth are safe. Chin said it again, we built the Guardian Fleet so that we could never be conquered by anyone. She looked around the room at all the species that were there. There were hundreds of them. She did not want humanity to be by itself. The Prometheus and the other ships like it are what keep humanity safe. They are not meant to scare anyone. She said they came to the meeting to show everyone that humanity is just as good as they are. Humanity wants a place at the table because they have earned it, not just because someone feels sorry for them. The Prometheus and her sister ships represent humanity, and humanity wants to be treated like equals. Crix clicked thoughtfully. You want to work, not be in charge of everything? We want to work, Chin said. Our technology is not as good as yours in some areas. The human species has a lot of knowledge that they have gained over a long time, and we do not have this. We can learn a lot from humans. Maybe humans can also learn from us. Humans are very good at making systems that work well together and at making things that can be easily replaced or fixed and at keeping things running for a time. These are things that we are happy to share with our friends, the humans. Lumina's crystalline form started to shine with light. Lumina is asking if they are talking about trading technology. Lumina wants to know if they can get access to their way of putting things in exchange for helping Lumina make their own special technologies better. Chin said that people are really good at taking things and making them work together. Humanity is great at this. We take things that are not alike and we make them work as one. You are very good at taking one thing and making it do everything it can do. Just think about what we could make if we worked together. Humanity could make something amazing with your help. The Arbiter was flashing with lots of light patterns. This is something that has never happened before. The great powers have always kept to themselves so that everything stays fair. If the Arbiter and the great powers start sharing technologies with each other without any rules, then everyone becomes stronger. Chin finished. This is good for all of us if we have to deal with problems from outside. The galaxy is really big. We have only seen a small part of it. Who knows what is there that we do not know about yet? It would be better if we faced the galaxy and its unknown things together than alone. We should face these things together because the galaxy is a place and we are all in this together. The galaxy has a lot of things and it would be smarter to face them with each other's help. General Cragg made a noise that sounded like he was laughing. This little human comes to our meeting, shows us his ships. They are really big and powerful, which makes our own ships look weak. Then he asks us to be friends with him. The Admiral has a lot of guts to do something like that. The Admiral is very brave to come and ask for our friendship like that. General Cragg was talking about the Admiral. I like to think of it as being practical, Chin said with a smile. We are new here. We need people to talk to. The Guardian Fleet helps us because it means we can have conversations as equals. We do not have to take a seat to anyone. The Guardian Fleet gives us the power to negotiate on our terms. The Guardian Fleet is important to us. What we do next is your decision to make about the Guardian Fleet. The 5 alien commanders looked at each other. Old feelings of competition and pride were fighting with the fact that humanity had done some things. After a while, Zelric spoke up for the group. Your demonstration has really worked, Admiral Chin. It has worked better than you might have thought it would. We came to this place thinking we would see simple human technology that we could easily ignore or look down on. What you have shown us is that these new people can be strong competitors or very helpful friends. It is up to us to decide which one we want them to be. Chin said that is exactly right. We need to talk about this with each other and with the people in charge, Zelric said. I think I am saying what everyone is thinking when I say that humanity has done something good today. Humanity has really shown us something. I am talking about humanity when I say that they have earned our respect. Now we have to see if this respect means we will work with humanity or try to be better than humanity. Chin nodded. That is all we ask for. We want people to respect us and we want the chance to show that computer science students are just as good as everyone, that computer science students are equals. The person in charge of the summit talked again. This meeting is over. The council will meet again in 3 cycles to start talking about humanity's role in the galaxy and if we can work together on technology with other communities. The council will talk about what humanity can do in the community and how we can share technology with others. The summit coordinator said that the council will meet again in 3 cycles to discuss these things about humanity and technology. As the delegates started to leave the room, they could not look back at the Prometheus that they could still see through the window. The 5 alien commanders walked up to Admiral Chen at the time. They all went to talk to Admiral Chen together with the Prometheus in their view. Lumina asked a question. She wanted to know about the supercarriers. You said there are 12 supercarriers and they are making more. Lumina said, how more supercarriers are they making? Chen. It was a real smile. He said, that is enough. Let us just say that humanity really believes in being ready for anything that happens. Cragg laughed again. It sounded like rocks falling down a mountain. You know what I think, human? I think humans will either be the friends we will ever have or the toughest enemy we will ever meet. I think it is good that humans and the Cragg are meeting as friends. Chen said this. He really meant it. The alien commanders. Each of them was thinking deeply about what they had just seen. Chen stayed by the window. She looked out at the Prometheus and all the ships it had sent out. Chen felt proud. Relieved when she saw the Prometheus and the fleet it had deployed. The Prometheus and its fleet were really something to see. Chen thought about the Prometheus. What it meant to her. Captain Morrison's voice came through her communicator. Admiral, that went well. What are my orders now, Admiral? Start doing what we normally do, Captain, Chen said. Send a message to Earth. The mission is done. Humanity is not the kid asking for people to notice us anymore. We are now a power and our voice counts. The Earth needs to know that humanity is a recognized power, with a voice that really matters. I get it, Admiral. It is really about time that the galaxy started taking the galaxy and us seriously. The galaxy needs to know that we are not people to be messed with. The galaxy has to take us seriously. Chen said, it really is, Captain. The food is great indeed. It is, Captain. The Prometheus looked really cool through the window. It was shining because of the light from the stars that were really far away. The Prometheus is not a ship. It is not something we use to fight. It is not a city that can move. The Prometheus is like a message. This message is made of metal and fire and people who really want to do something. The message is saying that people from Earth are here now and we are not going anywhere. The Prometheus is saying that humanity has arrived and humanity is staying. The time when humans were not in charge had not started yet. Humans did not want to be in charge. The time when people thought humans were weak or not advanced was finished. From on, when the big powers in the galaxy made their plans and worked together, they would have to think about Earth. Earth would be something they had to consider. When the great powers of the galaxy made their plans and formed their alliances, they would have to think about Earth and what Earth could do. Out in space, people are building more Guardian-class supercarriers and shipyards that go around distant worlds. The thing is, people have learned something from all the things that have happened in the past. We should wish for peace. We have to get ready for war because that is what people have learned. Hope for peace but prepare for Guardian-class supercarriers to be used in war. The summit has finally come to an end. Now the future of the summit is what we are looking at. The future of the summit has. It is going to be very interesting to see what the future of the summit holds. And the galaxy would never be quite the same again.